All right, I believe we are live. Says we're live. OBS did some updates. It's kind of been an intense day, not gonna lie. Let me see. All right, do we have audio? Yeah, we got audio. Okay. Wonderful. How's it going tonight, guys? I'm not gonna lie, I just started the stream and I was like 3.5 minutes into a topic, and then I realized I wasn't streaming, so that was a little it's a little unnerving. But all right, yeah, I have a lot to talk about tonight. I threw out that crazy friggin' bumper, I guess you would call it, the video, the short video that directs you to this video, the advertisement for this stream. I used the song Bodak Yellow, which I find really funny because Bodak Yellow is like a ripoff of the Kodak Black song that he got famous off, or one of his songs, and now Popeyes is ripping off Bodak Yellow. It's like very interesting. Very appropriate, I guess. But yeah, it's a Cardi B song. Cardi B. Oh God. Speaking of the degradation of culture, right? So I was talking to a friend the other day about the way that pop culture, really what it is you have let's get into slave races, okay? Let's get into the breeding of slave races. And that's like a much fetishized activity, is the breeding of slave races. And there's lots of ways to do that, and most of those ways involve the slave never knowing that they're a slave, which is pretty intense, right? But anyway, Spites on hallway trip time. Cardi B was a stripper at my local strip club, and Partisan Fontaine wrote her biggest songs. I don't know who that is. But okay, yeah, so we have Popeyes ripping off a ripoff. Interesting. Okay, I'm just relieved that I have audio, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. So it's like August 2nd right now. Did anybody else get like the sudden surge of like autumn all of a sudden, like August 1st, because it literally changed seasons for like a day, and now it's like kind of summer again, kind of not. Oh, I'm taking care of a very high maintenance animal right now. So that might come up during the stream. Very high maintenance dog. All right. Looks like it's good. I have Top Chat on. That's kind of irritating. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's just unbelievable to me. Okay. So I'm just gonna get into cartoons, because that's really what I've been thinking about lately, is cartoons, and just how much changed from when I was a kid in the 90s to now, and like the things that they show children, and especially the things that they show young children. So I remember I was there. Okay, I was on the front lines when the pedophiles allegedly at Nickelodeon were like, look, we were coming out with all these like kind of cool shows. Like what have we been doing? We're inspiring children. We're presenting them with interesting storylines and like things to figure out, and like creating stories so colorful and vivid and interesting that kids just like are intrinsically drawn to follow the story, right? And they were like, let's stop that. We need to make education painful. And then they fucking, you know what they did? They introduced this cunt. Do you remember this fucking cunt? Okay. It's just like, they ruined Nickelodeon with these stupid repetitive shows where it was like, kids don't even learn that way. It doesn't even make sense. Because the idea that like, like, how did your kid learn curse words? Like, did you like sit there with them and like, shit, and like say it like fucking 50 times? No, your kid heard it in conversation and then said it. Because kids learn through conversation. They learn through stories. They learn through things that seem natural, right? And then basically they shifted it to be like, let's do this like this top-down classroom instruction style of television show for children that's hyper repetitive and just like nauseatingly uninteresting. I actually think that like the people working at Nickelodeon, I think the Nickelodeon execs probably were like, bring me the most mediocre cartoon show that you can come out with. That's what I think they were actually trying to do, because I think that they needed it to be something that was more restrictive and less inspiring. I think that they got really freaked out that they were inspiring children with the storylines of their cartoons. And they didn't want to do that, because all they want to do is mirror their own ugliness through the stuff they create. Autistically flapping. All right. Yeah, Pomad, you had an interesting point here. Neptune and Uranus and Saturnine signs for the 90s. Capricorn and Aquarius. That's really interesting. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I haven't really looked at that. So, like, Pluto's been in Saturnian signs for a while then, too, because I think Pluto's right now in Aquarius, Capricorn, and then Aquarius, right? Yeah. So, the Googleization of kids' media, so Googleization, yeah, they made it like so insipid, like just stupid and insulting, like insultingly bad, and then everything had to be like diversity. Like, look at this fucking animation for this fucking girl. Like, it's so bad. It's not even cute. It's like this, the same thing with like the LOL dolls that they're pushing in like Walmarts. Like, they have these big eyes, but there's nothing else well designed about them. It's just like, it's like a brainwashing thing. It's like literally like a brainwashing thing. That's what the big eyes make me think of. And like Goo Goo, yeah, the Goo Gooization. Like, Goo Goo is like it's the same as Gaga, Lady Gaga. It's like the sound that you make when you're hypnotized. They say it in so many different ways. All right, but anyway, I posted this on Twitter. Name a more Hyperborean kids cartoon. I'll wait. All right, so Busy World of Richard Scarry. Literally, this was like the busy town in the busy world of Richard Scarry. And then like 20 years later, and this is like a cute show. It has like little adventures and they go places, and it's not just like mind-numbingly awful. It's just like an early 90s cartoon type thing. And dude, the dog is barking and it's making me crazy. I'm gonna have to tune him out better. But yeah, this is like, so what they did was they were like, we're just gonna flip the whole thing. We're gonna get rid of anything that doesn't terrify kids of the world or bore them slightly. Okay, Rupert. This nigga Rupert, let me tell you, Rupert hung out with pirates and giants and leprechauns and Taoist court mages and dragons. Here he is in front of like a Moorish arch, which actually ties into the Solomon stuff I'm going to get into later. But like, he went places, and this is, no, not allowed to show that. It's all got to be. And I also blame SpongeBob, to be honest. I think SpongeBob had a lot to do with the decline in quality of cartoons. And SpongeBob just got shoved down everybody's throats. I don't think anybody really liked it that much at first. I think the idea that it was this like craze is not true. Probably like with, you know, what is it that the Clash said? Phony Beatlemania has bitten the dust. It was like the SpongeBob mania. Masonic programming and shitification, yeah. Best show on Nickelodeon was Pete and Pete. Yeah, Pete and Pete was fine. It wasn't like an evil, brainwashed show full of lies and hatred, you know? Shows like Dora were made for the global drop in IQ. Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's like they were like, people are going to get real stupid real fast. We want them to not be able to read faces. So we're just going to have this, like, actual football head bitch. Okay, I'm scared to look that up now, creature. Iggy Pop's quote talking about why they named the band Goo Goo Dolls. Oh, I didn't know about that. You can just paste it in the chat because I'd be interested to know. I have a lot of thoughts about the Goo Goo Dolls. Do you remember? Oh my god, this always cracks me up. Do you remember the video for the song Iris? The song Iris, like the intro is like beautiful. Like there's the chord progression is like amazing. And then it's like a fucking weird ass song with like a weird video to match where it's literally this fucking loner, this omega male in a tower, and he's like spinning around the tower in his spinny computer chair. And he's got all these like telescopes, and he's using all of the telescopes to spy on one woman from a tower. Okay? Like that was the video to the song Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Like, they're a good band musically. Like, I think they're a really good band musically. I think they write beautiful melodies. Very, like, bardic Irish style of writing, but, like, to a pop degree. I've never hated the Goo Goo Dolls the way I hate a lot of other stuff. Because I hate a lot of music. Busy World of Richard Scarry was a showcase of life in a small town, high trust society outside of the homeless monkey guy. Dude. There's a homeless monkey guy, yeah there is. And it's like, every time the homeless monkey guy comes on screen, you will be like keenly aware that this is a black character. You'll be like, what? But it's like, it's really kind of, it's cute. It's a cute show. I hate SpongeBob. Yeah, it's SpongeBob's ugly and dark. Okay, that's 3 different people responding to that idea. Yeah, it really is ugly and dark. And because a lot of those cutscenes, they were very like jarring in a way. There's a very jarring quality to SpongeBob, where it was like the first ugly cartoon that they were like, let's make this the cartoon right now. Like, let's make everybody watch this cartoon. Like, you're gonna watch it just to figure out what the fuss is about. It's like one of those deals. And yeah, it was just it was designed to be jarring, but they had almost like perfected that in cartoon form, because like, you know, the prototypes of SpongeBob are like shows like Ren and Stimpy, and like even Mike Judge to a certain extent has that like ugly style. Mike Judge is a lot more like sympathetic. Like, I like Mike Judge a lot more than I like some of the like really ugly, even like Bakshi though, Ralph Bakshi. I mean, a lot of those guys just have like a dark side. Just like I have a feeling that guy had a dark side, but I don't know. Something about cartoonists, man. Something about the animators. They just flip. And I mean, one of the only good shows of like the 2000s, one of the only good cartoons. Let me see. I would say Fairly Odd Parents wasn't bad. But then they came out with like Butch Hartman. They discontinued that, and they started making like kind of ugly cartoons where it's like the Danny Phantom shit, and like it just wasn't as visually appealing, and it was like it was for an IQ drop. Yeah, actually, now that you say that, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it was like the global IQ drop. They were like, better roll out these fucking abominations. Just terrible shit. Terrible. It's also interesting the way that it happened in the 90s, where it was like, so you had a bunch of really good adventure shows that where it was like the characters would go places, and it was just like a sweet little story, you know. And then Blue's Clues happened, and that was not good. That was not good for cartoons, for children cartoons. And then Dora and all that shit. Little Bill, like, yeah, they made Bill Cosby a kid's show. It's like, okay, I guess they've made some missteps, right? Like, no one gave a fuck about Little Bill. No one gave a fuck about Little Bill, because it wasn't a good show. They know how to make good shows. They refuse to do it. They refuse to uplift the youth. And Disney's guilty of it too. Disney, God, every fucking Disney movies and now anymore is such an abomination. Like, I have thoughts about a lot of Disney movies, so I don't watch Disney movies. It's really hard for me. A couple people wanted me to watch Moana, so I've seen Moana a couple times, and man, what an evil fucking movie. What a gross fucking movie, where all of the men in the society in Moana are just these cowardly cucks, and they need a woman to save them. Isn't that convenient? So like it's so bad, and like the jokes are bad. There's nothing true in it. Like there is no true portrait of masculinity in any way. It's just all like this straw man masculinity that's bowing down to this fucking cunt, you know? These, like, the Disney princesses are so unlikable anymore. They're just gross. And it's not because they're diverse, it's because the movies suck. The movies are terrible. And they're making them bad on purpose. Like, they know what the fuck they're doing. So that's Moana. There's another movie called Encanto, by Disney, which I haven't watched, but I did notice they have a song that's very like well liked called I know some Disney people, okay, and they really like this one song from Encanto called We Don't Talk About Bruno. And I heard that and I was like, oh, they're talking about Giordano Bruno, and they're not telling the normies that. They're not actually telling them that, but that is who they're singing about. Because it's a movie called Encanto. It's a movie in like with a Spanish title. Okay, Disney is an American institution, it's a white institution, okay? Like, it was created by whites. It just was. And, like, I'm not saying to never have any diversity in anything ever, but, like, dude, like, okay, yeah, again with the Spanish shit. Again with the race mixing shit. And basically, yeah, so it's this movie called Encanto. It's called Spellcraft in Spanish, basically, like enchantment in Spanish. And it's a movie about magic. I haven't seen it because it sucks, I'm sure. I don't want to see it. I don't like putting that shit in my brain. It's painful. Watching modern Disney is pain. All right. Let's check the chat. I see a lot of Robert Crumb in Nickelodeon cartoons. That's really interesting. Robert Crumb. Yeah. I had a really beautiful book of his that I sold on eBay. It was his art is really cool sometimes. He has some interesting art. I like his style a lot more than I like the ugly cartoon style. One of the SpongeBob characters had an ID with an address that was Epstein Island. Tall purple dude. That's weird. Squidbillies. I haven't watched that show a lot. I always thought it was kind of funny, but I never really watched it. Was the boat scene in Willy Wonka a ritual imprinted into millions, if not billions, of children? Yeah, of course. I see a lot of Robert Crumb. Justin Roiland. Have you ever seen some Justin? No. Justin Roiland. I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, Sam Hyde worked for Adult Swim. He worked at Cartoon Network. I know a little bit about how this works, so don't let your kids get programmed by the Jews. That's my motto. Disney movies are mind-warping Jew sorcery, same as sitcoms. Yeah, I mean, not all Jew sorcery is created equal. There is some Jew stuff that's wonderful. I don't mean to disparage the contribution that the Jews have had on American culture today. NPR and like incessant babbling, all that stuff, all that great stuff. And yeah. Justin Roiland has powerful murderer energy. Hey, Rooster Rick. It's fucking disturbing. You can find it anywhere. It's on BitChute, probably. I do not know what you're talking about. Oh, you're saying that thing from Justin Roiland that you recommended to me. Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of content. I produce a lot of content, so it's not really good to be watching a bunch of stuff all the time when you're trying to say your own thing, because it's hard. All right, let's get into some more real shit. We're going to talk about the Seal of Solomon and the shapes that I've associated with the Seal of Solomon because, let me see. When I first saw, like, this pattern, Okay, I already said this is like a binder clip. It's a binder clip. Okay. This matters. The shapes of sigils matter because where these shapes occur naturally, you will know something about that place because the sigil has appeared there. So, let me see. So, like, I was walking along in the park and I was just thinking about this shape. It's like a Moorish arch, actually, a little bit. You can find Moorish arches that are more pronounced, and yeah, they kind of mirror that same look. And I was walking along in the park one day, and I was thinking about this, and I saw some mushrooms lying in the grass. And I noticed that there was a resemblance there, just a little bit. Because you have that tail that, like, widens at the end, and then you have the hoop on top. Now, a lot of people talk about mushrooms like they are a seal, like they are a key. You have the 7 seals of the apocalypse, right? It's like, how would you interpret the 7 seals of the apocalypse? Because I interpret them as like, I also haven't done a lot of Revelations reading, but it's almost like 7 rites, right? Like 7 rituals. And yeah, to me it looks like a keyhole. Yeah, exactly. It is like a keyhole. Yeah. What's interesting is that you can trace this same shape to a lot of things that, if you really think about it, seem a little connected. Now, shield your virgin eyes. This is a bowl of marijuana. It has the same shape as the mushroom and as the seal of Solomon. And then that actually got me thinking, this is something that, I don't know, I just thought this was really interesting. And I felt like nobody got this when I posted it a couple of years ago. This was an advertisement for like an Alice in Wonderland escape room somewhere near Dover. And if you look at what's being presented, it's the exact same shape as passing someone a bowl and a lighter at the same time. It's the exact same shape, the bowl and the lighter. And that's, of course, interesting because you have the bowl that looks like the seal of Solomon, that looks like the keyhole. And you also have the fact that there are a lot of mushrooms in Alice in Wonderland. And mushrooms also have that same shape. And Alice in Wonderland is about going through the looking glass, right? Going into the inverted world or going into some kind of liminal world, almost like a spirit realm of sorts. All right, scramble the ego so Satan can inhabit. I also read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Yeah. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac was, yeah, I remember that. Jonan Vasquez. What I remember the most of Jonan Vasquez were his MSI videos. He directed a couple MSI videos. And they're very cartoonish and like kind of ugly, but at least he was interesting. You know what I mean? It's hard to be too mad at Jonan Vasquez because his characters were interesting and he had funny jokes, but he did have a little bit of the ugliness thing going on for sure. And yeah, Solomon is like an interesting character. He wrote so much of the Bible. I didn't realize that. Just for the record, I went to Catholic school for 10 years. And say what you will about the Catholic Church, I learned a lot. But I don't have like instant recall of religion class. But there's a lot that's just kind of like embedded in my subconscious about Christianity and about Judaism. So I have like almost an innate understanding just because I've been so immersed in that tradition. But there are certain things, certain facts that I don't really know. So like, I don't know things about Solomon. I can't always name names. And Solomon is something, honestly, I don't know if I ever learned about this guy. I think I would have remembered it if I learned about this, like, he had 1,000 wives. I don't think they ever brought that up. So Solomon, the deal with Solomon, I guess, is that basically he epitomizes like the golden age of the tribes of Israel. And it was back when there were still 12 tribes of Israel. And then after Solomon's reign, every tribe but Judah got pulled away from Solomon's son. And Solomon's son's name was like Rehoboam or something, which sounds a lot like Rehoboth, which is a place in Delaware. It's like a beachy area that people actually go to. I don't know why, though. It kind of drives me crazy being down there. Rehoboth, Delaware was gay town before every town was gay town. Remember that? Remember when only some cities were like the gay city? Rehoboth has been the gay city for a long, long time. Now they're all like that, so you can't really tell the difference, right? Every city is the gay city now. Hey, Miles. They had us reading Beowulf at my Catholic school. I read Beowulf in a public high school. But I did not read it K through 8. It seems to me that ugly is better in media than goo-goo. Ugliness is part of the world. Not everything needs to be goo-goo. It's just that you don't have to constantly be showing the ugliness of your imagination to people. People who aren't as traumatized as you won't appreciate it the way you appreciate it. And they had to really try to get a lot of these cartoons popular. If SpongeBob was innately popular, they wouldn't have had to run all those news stories saying how great it was and how much people loved it. And I really think that that's what drove any sales, is people were like, oh, this merchandise might be worth something. Remember when merchandise, like they started being able to make cheap merchandise, like, you know, super cheap? And that was like right around the era of SpongeBob. That was not always a thing. Merch used to be like really rare for things, you know? That's why there's like nobody has like a Lord of the Rings poster from the 70s, you know, because it was a much more obscure kind of thing. Dated a Zoroastrian for a decade. Zoroastrianism, I'm really fond of. I think it's really interesting. Jew is a derogatory term for tribes of Judah and Benjamin. I don't really know anything about the tribe of Benjamin. That's an interesting one. Christianity shouldn't even be a religion. It's an oxymoron, kind of. I don't see where you're coming from. A lot of places in America that have the same names as areas in the Middle East. Yeah, people were talking last time about like the ancient Egypt stuff and how it kind of seems like the USA is the new Egypt in a way, like where there's a lot of the occult symbolism of Egypt has been resurrected here, and a lot of the you had this first this first wave of Freemasonry America, right, in the 1700s, and you know, the Skull and Bones Society was like adjacent to that, and like all of these weird or not, it's not Skull and Bones. What was the one that Ben Franklin was part of? Anyway, yeah, they were up to some shit back then. But now you have this like globalization witchcraft, and they're having like they're purposefully like invoking a new America, right? That's what they're attempting to do, is to like invoke a new America. And that's the desire to create a slave race, because when you separate people from their culture, from like their God-given culture, like what they are ethnically, like what your body is your ethnicity, right? Okay, your matter, your material, your bodily existence. Yeah. We're definitely not the new Rome. Greece and Rome had beautiful art and architecture. Exactly. I'm so glad somebody said that. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're not the new Rome, because we've been really ugly for a while. I think they kind of like they like faked us out with the new Rome stuff, right? Because like you have these like Parthenon type buildings, like these the buildings in the neoclassical stuff in DC and everything, and like every state capital has that kind of architecture. But no, I think they faked us out. I think that they kind of pivoted into just being this like godless thing. I think that they wanted to remove, right now the spellcraft is to remove God from the people, basically. Because when you remove God from the people, when you remove ethnicity from the people, all they have is pop culture. So all they have to cling on to is whatever you choose to make popular. But they have to really pace and lead carefully, because if the culture they're producing to brainwash people stops hitting, if it stops being effective, they have to have enough truth that people will follow them, that people will, yeah, so it's not all lies all the time. It's a control system. It's totally a control system. We're definitely not the new Rome. I recognize Jesus as God, so I said it like that, but any religion around God is stupid, in my opinion. I recognize Jesus as God. Any religion around God is stupid, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, the word religion should just be like... Religion, no one seems to like this thing called religion. Have you noticed that? Where like so many people are like, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. It's because, yeah, there's something about religion. It attracts people who need, like, they need the building, They need the building to gather at so they can, like, pull in power. It's something that attracts, like, a really narcissistic type of person a lot of the time. So I see why that goes wrong. There's exceptions, but, like, it's difficult because on one hand, churches should serve the community. That's really what a church should serve, the community. But most of these churches are just pretty parasitic, even though some of them do good charity and things like that. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. You have to throw off your own shackles, white man. Like, it's hard to, you want to be a slave of the Jews. I mean, it's up to you. You do it the whatever way you want to do it. It's so funny. I was watching an episode. So my dog watches cartoons. All right, my dog watches cartoons, even though he's deaf and blind. For some reason, if I have cartoons on or like some TV on, I swear he's less anxious. It doesn't make any sense to me why that would be. But I was watching some shows with him the other day, and oh my god, I totally lost. Hold on. The Oddfellows run a Chuck E. Cheese type place near me. Okay. They lie so when they tell the truth, you won't believe them. Diogenes. Yeah. Exactly. What's weird is how the evil done in the name of religion is given much more weight than evil done on behalf of other institutions. Yeah, there's definitely, like, I think a lot of young people have to face religion more than people in, like, my age bracket. I'm like 34. So, people in my age bracket are kind of like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Goodbye. Or like baptism, maybe Christmas, that's it. Weddings and funerals. A lot of people are just smorgasbord Christians. I'm lucky I grew up Catholic, though. I do feel lucky. Catholic in the mornings. Sadly, one of the worst enemies of the church is some of the lukewarm members in them. Lukewarm makes it sound like you're going to battle, like. Cartoons are very cozy. Yeah, I love cartoons. I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought with that one. I put on cartoons for my dog. I don't know why I was telling you that. SpiceBear UNC RIP. I don't know what that means. Opinion on video games. They're okay. I don't play them. I don't play video games at all, except for like old school arcade games. I don't like anything where you have a like an arsenal or like luggage that you carry with you. What do they call that in a game? I don't like anything like that. I don't want to think about like objects in my possession when I'm playing a game. No. I don't really do like the role-playing games very well, I guess. Some people are drawn to... Alright. Okay, bye Ross M. Thanks for stopping by. Alright. What else do I have for you guys today? This is so weird. Okay. I really didn't plan this one very much because I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to be feeling. Sometimes I just want to do a hangout stream. Sometimes I just want to go in and like talk to people and see what other people are thinking. And I have like thousands of ideas I can just pull from. So something that's been like obsessing me lately, dude, I'm like obsessed with this, is the way the signs of the moon relate to different activities. So a lot of people have heard things about, like, if the moon is waxing, that's a good time to plant things that grow above ground, because if that's, you know, if you're harvesting above ground, you want to plant when the moon is waxing. If you're harvesting the roots or anything that's below ground, you want to harvest when the moon is waning. And there's more to it than that, though. It's like, there's basically, the rule is that, like, earth or water signs are good signs to plant in. Air signs, no, except Libra. For some reason, Libra is like decent to plant in. And then Virgo, the earth sign, is not good to plant in because Virgo is a virgin, right? You can figure that out. So there's this thing with earth and water signs being good for planting any kind of plant. And just go by waxing or waning depending on so you have the phase of the moon, and then you have the sign that the phase is, or the sign that the moon is in. So, but like, you wouldn't want to plant something on the full moon necessarily, because like the moment it's full, it starts waning again. The light starts diminishing. So that was like really interesting to me. And then, like, if you read like the Farmer's Almanac, they have a bunch of weird shit where they say, like, these are the signs that are good to host a party in. And they say that it's the air signs and Leo. Like, if the moon is in an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, which is of course a fire sign, that is allegedly a good time to host a party in. Like, their astrologer has all sorts of opinions. I find very interesting. But then, like, for a party, whether it's waxing or waning doesn't really matter. And you can do a party on the full moon. It's not a big deal. I'm not sure if you can do a party on the new moon, because the new moon is allegedly for cursing people and like bad things. Magically, the new moon is like the dark moon where you can't see it. And yeah, that's, it's, apparently that's like a thing with people who curse people, and I can believe it. You know what? I can totally believe it. But I had like a really interesting semantic interpretation of like the waxing moon and the waning moon, just because it's really worth it to observe the moon. The moon is really important. Magically, it's important for your soul. The moon shows you in a way. There's a mirror on the moon in a sense. Red Hot Chili Peppers know all about that, the mirror to the moon. I think the sound vibrations from cartoons has an effect on how we perceive them. It's called lunacy for a reason, yes. The moon messes with the brain. They say staring at the moon makes you crazy. Damn, gotta get me an old world almanac. Menstrual cycles are lunar. Yeah, so people want to know about the moon, huh? I have a few things to say. I need to... I should definitely do a moon video. Because, yeah, I can tell people are very interested in that. Literally a mirror on the moon. Yeah. Yeah, because the astronauts, they put the mirror on the moon. Yeah. The astronauts who walked on the moon and played golf on the moon and rode around in little dune buggies on the moon. Talk about the space landing moon ritual. Yeah, well, there's a lot I could say, but I would prefer to talk about the moon in more detail because there's just so much to say about it. What I'm going to give you now is my semantic interpretation of the waxing and the waning moon. So after the new moon in Leo, that's the invisible moon, the new moon, where it's completely black in the sky. The moon begins waxing it again. It becomes fuller. Okay, so where is the moon in the sky when it's in the waxing phase? It'll be in all of the signs that follow Leo. So it'll be in you'll have a growing moon in Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, etc. So in a sense, the waxing moon is growing the future, right? And that also speaks to that idea that magic and the moon are kind of outside of time, that there's something outside of time about this. Likewise, after the full moon, the moon begins to wane, its light diminishes. So where is the moon when its light is shrinking? It's in the signs that represent the past 6 months of the sun's path. So the waning moon shrinks the past. The diminishing moon is in the zodiac signs of the past 6 months. And the waxing moon grows in the future 6 signs. So in that way, the moon grows the future and it shrinks the past. And I think I'm onto something there. I think I'm really onto something there. Eating some pie. What do people think? That makes sense, right? Because there's that outside of time liminal quality of the celestial bodies, the luminaries especially, and the moon especially. Worship of the creator, not the creation. Can you talk about mirrors and reflections? Yeah, people are really interested in the mirrors and reflections thing, I think. So I'm writing a whole piece thing called, like, a long form video, hopefully, called Neptune's Mirror. That's what I think it's going to be called, because I associate this phenomenon with the planet Neptune, where basically, if you look at what the sea is and what the sea represents. So Neptune is the planet Neptune, the god Neptune, you know. You can picture the guy with the trident. What he represents is humanity's connection to the sea, to the waters. And that has this whole undertone of like the collective subconscious, right? So there's like emotion is connected with water in a big way too. Atlantis is beneath the water. It's like this hidden realm of this hidden realm of esoteric knowledge. I don't want to say esoteric, but like the type of knowledge where people understand the way of the world, rather than just like reducing it into axioms, you know. People have like a holistic view of the way the world works, and you know that's a very magical worldview. So Neptune connects to all of that stuff, and one of the things I kind of seemed to channel when I was invoking Neptune was this idea that when you look at the sea, when you look at the water, you see yourself first. That's the first thing you see, because your reflection is in the water. And then when you get past it, that's when you can get into the depths, right? And that's really interesting, because the idea of seeing your reflection in water is a very psychically potent idea. You know, you have Narcissus falling in love with his reflection. Narcissus, where we get the word narcissism, he was a Greek character, like a super pretty boy hanging out by the pond with nymphs and fairies and stuff, and he fell in love with the reflection of himself in the pond. And the idea there being that he's not actually in love with himself, he's in love with his reflection. Okay, so that's essentially what narcissism is. It's someone who falls in love with the reflection that they build of themselves, for themselves. And that's really descriptive when you're talking about the internet too. And I experienced a lot of the Neptune's Mirror type thing when I released the video about Sam Hyde being a witch, and I got all that attention. And I noticed something that I did, and this is something that I'm sure everybody does, is when you have a YouTube channel, you're going to inevitably be looking at comments. And when you look at the comments, sometimes when you reach for your phone to look at the comments, you're looking for a reflection of yourself. That's what you're looking for. Like, you want to see yourself in someone else's eyes. And that can be helpful, obviously. I think that making videos is important and everything. But that also ties to Neptune. That's something that, and Neptune in astrology is very often tied to deception. I prefer to think of Neptune as the ruler of the deep waters, and honestly the shallow waters too, apparently. And the mystic nature of Neptune. Yeah, it's all kind of the same thing. And let me see, we just had Neptune leave Pisces, right, and is now in Aries. Which, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Neptune's mirror type energy over the past, God, how long has Neptune been in the the screen is an agent of Neptune's mirror, right? Like the reality of the screen. Jet Neptune, am I right? I feel like this Neptune's reflection was a huge theme in Ponyo. I've never seen Ponyo. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, I'll write that down. I will watch Ponyo. Yeah, I'm just tired, man. You're breathing quantum fire. Thank you, creature. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very hesitant with anime. Even the anime, some of it, like, so Miyazaki obviously is like a very good filmmaker. He makes really good movies. I don't love all of his stuff. I can't watch like Kiki's Delivery Service for more than like 20 minutes. But like most of his stuff is like, much of his stuff is very, very profound. And then I feel like he makes like these kind of cutesy movies that are less like deep. But I don't know. But yeah, Miyazaki is an interesting one. So it would not surprise me if he had a whole thing about that in Ponyo. He's very perceptive. Something I realized recently. So right across the street from me, I had a fairy circle form. And it was so cool. Like a fairy circle, like a ring of mushrooms. And they were just like these bright white mushrooms all in a ring on this, the bright green grass. So it's like, it was super visible. And it's like across the street from me. But when I was like looking at this ring of mushrooms, I noticed that they look so much like, they basically are the tree spirits from Princess Mononoke. Those little white guys that like their heads rattle. That's like a mushroom. So he was basically saying that the mushrooms are tree spirits, which is really interesting. But they look like exactly it. Looking at the design, I was like, oh, that's the mushroom, or that's the what are they called, like the Konamis or whatever. He has cute movies and deep movies. Yeah, he has a little bit of both. People really want me to talk about Jet Neptune, huh? Jet Neptune is a he's a guy, I guess. I don't really know Jet. I feel like I might have talked to him before, though. I don't know. I think our time is characterized by our struggle to come to terms with a reflection as we see ourselves more now than we've ever done previously. Because of photography, filmography, social media, yeah. We do see ourselves more than we have before. Yeah. Is a screen a portal? Yeah, I think it is. I think it literally is. Every object, you have to look at the magical interpretation for that object. And a screen is a magic mirror. It's a mirror that shows you things, right? That's exactly what a screen is. So, the queen in Snow White, like mirror on the wall, and then she gets this image of Snow White, and she wants to kill her. That's really interesting, actually. Just like this wicked queen seeing a beautiful young woman in a mirror and just wanting to kill her because she's more beautiful than her. And that's kind of like, it's like she's watching TV, right? It's like she's like a murderous sociopath watching the Kardashians. So Disney was, in a way, Snow White was about the screen. That's something I could only discover on a fucking live stream. Ponyo is kind of both. It's very much aimed at kids, but there's enough subtext in the way shots are set up and the artistic choices that made me wonder about the constant use of reflections as motif. Okay. Yeah, he's like tremendous. He's a tremendous filmmaker. I wish I could do a Trump impression, but I can't. Why is everyone? Yeah, don't even get into it, man. Patrice O'Neill spirits. Patrice O'Neill spirits. Yeah. Man, what happened to Patrice O'Neill? Was it drugs? Was it alcohol? Was it snack food? There was a comedian that died of snack food. That like Ralphie guy. What you guys know who I'm talking about. He like died of eating. Why is everybody here so fixated? Spice is great comparison. Yeah, there's only so much you can say about Sam Hyde. I mean, he's kind of a one-note topic, right? Oh, did we get into the Sam Hyde stuff yet? Oh, shit. You know what? I guess we didn't. I guess, okay. We can get into the Sam Hyde stuff. Yeah. So, I had people complaining in the comment section on YouTube. I checked the citations of your, I checked the citations on that Sam Hyde article that you linked to in the video, the one where they say that he's a Native American trickster. And I just want you to know that he's not even real, because I checked the citations, and it's basically people who can't read. And it's either people who can't read or just like trolls trying to get me to talk about this. But either way, I'm going to demonstrate to you why I know that Sam Hyde is the name of some kind of spirit. And it refers to some kind of spirit, in my opinion. Okay, I've talked a lot about New England and how cursed it is, okay? It's not the only cursed area, but it is especially cursed. So it comes up a lot on this stream, and, you know, there's people will say there's a lot of magic in New England, there's a lot of witchcraft in New England, it makes some people very uncomfortable. We'll get into it, all right. So yeah, people just very curious about the Sam Hyde thing. So let's look at some of these. I don't know if you would call them primary sources, but they are good enough sources. All right. So this is Ketteridge, and he was writing, let me pull up this book. Some book about New England, The Old Farmer and His Almanac. That's actually what it's called. So we were talking about farmers' almanacs already in this stream. That's kind of a sync. Look at that. And Lyman, his middle name's Lyman. That's an interesting middle name. I'm not going to get into it. But he actually writes the name as Hyde with an H here. Let me see if I can get this. So Sam Hyde, however, is a more familiar personage. So he's talking about some other character. I think it was like a character named Tom Hyde. And he was saying, no one fucking knows who Tom Hyde is. But Sam Hyde, people actually do know that guy. In 1820, this guy, there's a recording of someone saying that a probable lie smells too strong of the marvelous and is better calculated for Sam Hyde's register. So Sam Hyde was this apocryphal figure who was a powerful liar in New England. This is all coming from New England states. Sam has become proverbial, so to lie like Sam Hyde is still a New England saying. He says, there are few, we imagine, who have not heard of Sam Hyde, but notwithstanding his great notoriety, we may not be thought serious in the rest of our work were we to enter seriously into his biography. His name is a byword in all New England, and it means the greatest of all liars. Okay, so sorry if that was a little boring. But Sam Hyde, okay, was the greatest of all liars. That's what his persona was, and he was not necessarily known to really exist. Yes, there are recordings of a guy named Sam Hyde, obviously. It's a fairly common name. But there's no proof that that Sam Hyde who is in those records is the Sam Hyde of legend, okay? So also, if you look at the Wikipedia article, that last line there, it says, James Weimer, whatever his name is, Sam Hyde, James Weimer has speculated that Sam Hyde may be a composite, okay? So he's a mashing together of several anecdotes and stories. So Sam Hyde, the spirit, that's exactly what a spirit is, okay? There's a lot of different stories. There is an emerging theme, okay? And from that theme, legend is born. How do you think people got stories about trickster spirits? From stories, from people passing down things that happen to them, and then they become canon, basically. They're just something that everybody knows that Sam Hyde is the greatest of all liars. And let me tell you, it's not too far from the truth. So there you go. There are my citations. If you look into those citations, they are very, very real, very, very convincing. Yes, Sam Hyde is the name of a trickster spirit in New England. And whether Sam was born with that name Okay, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that that's his real name. A lot of people online go by fake names. I go by SpiceBear. Do you think that's my real name? Discovered your channel from the witch video. Looked into your stuff, and the gatekeeping video is more relevant than ever. Epstein didn't kill himself. Being memed, and now gatekeeping video. Oof. Yeah, planetary alignment videos and shit. Don't bring the boys to the yard. Some people are really interested in that, and to be honest, it's one of those things where it's like you kind of have to choose what your audience is going to be. Is it going to be people who obsess over Sam Hyde all the time, and you'll have fucking 5,000 of them in your chat acting like assholes, saying nothing productive and being boring? Or do you want to like find some real ones? And like personally, I would rather find real ones than put up with all that shit. Like, no, like, let me see. Yeah, so the witch, a lot of people were like, he's not a witch, he's a warlock. Okay, so nobody really knows what the difference is. Okay, I know that you read that one thing is one thing, but really, ultimately, there is no agreed upon consensus on what the difference is between a wizard, a witch, and a warlock. There's no consensus there. Some people will say that a warlock is someone who sold their soul to the devil and is being inhabited by a spirit, by some kind of daemon or spirit that is inhabiting them. That's what a warlock is. That's one definition of warlock. Okay, and then you have sorcerer. Okay, sorcerer kind of has a negative connotation. To me, sorcerer means mind games, right? To me, sorcerer means like Drake. Like, yeah, mind games. So, and the Edward Bernays and like all of those guys are very like that. Saturn is the father of lies. Planetary alignment, please. Yeah. Jim Blob. I like that. I recommended you to a famous YouTuber. Jord, speak of the fucking devil. Jord. Oh, yeah, Jord. It's an illusion and magic. He is definitely into magic. Borrows his opinions. Yeah, a lot of people borrow their opinions. It's very easy to do. But okay, so yeah, witches, warlocks, wizards. I gotta stay on topic. So, yeah, what I mean by witch, if you don't understand what I mean by witch, the word witch has it has a very similar connotation to what, because a lot of people when they think witch, especially if you're younger, you probably just think like the pointy hat and like they give out candy or whatever. Like you don't know what witch is, or you might associate it with paganism or something like that. Like no, like there once upon a time, a witch was someone who would like infiltrate your community and then cause havoc in a spiritual dimension. And they could do this by cursing people, and it was like kind of a real thing. I'm not saying everybody burnt as a witch was a witch in this way. I'm not making that claim at all. But there was some black magic that, because it still continues to exist today. It's just that you don't refer to those people as witches. It's one of the reasons I love the Big Bear calling Kim Kardashian just like a witch. It has that connotation of like you're just like it's not good. It's not a good thing. Even though I know that it's confusing. Okay, the word's very confusing to people. So when I was using the word witch to describe Sam Hyde, I was mostly thinking about like the movie The Witch, like the Vivitch, the one that's stylized with 2 V's that came out like. That's like a good, if you want to understand like the kind of black magic I'm talking about, watch The Witch from like 2000, I don't know, it's probably like 2018 or something. The Witch is the movie to watch, okay? Not fucking Midsummer. I've never seen Midsummer. I don't have any interest. It's so obvious to me what Midsummer is, okay? I knew immediately when it came out, I was like, this is going to be nothing but bashing Christianity. It's just going to be an excuse to bash Christianity. And it was. And of course they kill a character named Christian, and they have their gay little rituals, whatever it is. It's just like, there's no truth in this stuff. it's very similar to The Handmaid's Tale, where it's like just sloppy bonbon eating chick shit. Like it's just like the worst of the worst, though. If you never saw A Witch, check out Michelle Lamy, wife of Rick Owens. That movie is cursed. The Witch is cursed, or Midsummer. Midsummer is bad vibes. Cool people die. I didn't watch it, so that's interesting to know. I knew that it was like evil. I could tell it was like an evil movie, and that it was probably not that good either. The Witch is a good movie. It's very creepy. You are so right. Nice. This shirt fucking rocks. I love this is my HHN shirt. Okay, just take in the glory. Oh my god, this shirt is sick. I love this shirt. But it's like HHN. They need help. They need help. The Vavitch is cursed. Is it really? Are you telling me that it's actually cursed? Please tell me, because it's a very creepy movie. Like it's HHN, Halloween Horror Nights. Anytime they try to get someone to watch it, they say it's too boring. Yeah, it's very psychological. So it's one of those. I haven't seen it in years, and I don't really watch TV the way other people watch TV. I put things on and then I walk away from them, and then I just like come back and absorb what I absorb. I don't like sit down and watch movies almost ever. New religion of worshiping UFOs. I don't know about that. That's interesting. I didn't like the ending to The Witch. I don't remember it that well. I just remember that I was like, this is what I was afraid of when I was a kid. Like, this is what The Witch was. Like, that's why it's a good movie. Because it's very, like, it taps into that in a way that's really fascinating. And, like, no one does that. Because no one can say anything honest in almost any genre anymore. Jim Blob says, why do you want to be a dude so much? I don't know, Jim Blob. Why do you want me to be a dude so much? Someone's got issues. UFOs as gods. That's fucking weird as hell. So basically what that is that is... There's no fucking... There's no outer space. Like, we don't even know that outer space is real. We don't even know that outer space is real. Like... We can't... So, why would there be UFOs? Basically... Like, why aren't... It's just stupid. So, the whole... outer space is part of the mainstream pop culture religion. It's part of the pop culture religion. It's really interesting to me. I wonder why they called it pop culture. Like, what does that word pop symbolize? You know what I mean? Because, it's very catchy. It's a very catchy thing to call it. It's a palindrome. It's spelled the same backwards as forwards. Pop, you know. It could be like a sigil of some kind. But yeah, so pop culture is designed for that exact purpose. Like, you have the space narrative, you have pop culture. It's just a way to demoralize people and keep them at like a low vibration, so to speak. I don't really love that style of speaking, because I do feel like a lot of stuff is like, people take the frequency and vibration stuff like too far. What else do I have for you guys? I talked about cartoons. I talked about the Seal of Solomon and the Sam Hyde stuff. I talked about moon stuff. Man. Yeah, I don't know. This was like, I kind of just threw something together last minute here. This is not like one of my well-planned streams. It's difficult to plan sometimes. I really want to do more long-form stuff, man. That's really what I want. If you want to help support my ability to make videos, you can help me pay for Adobe Premiere Pro for a year. That's at the GoFundMe link you can find in the description. Buymeacoffee.com/SpiceBear is probably the easiest way to donate. It's like a 5 or 10. It's like increments of 5. Buymeacoffee.com/SpiceBear. And I just want to be able to like pay for Adobe Premiere. That would help me a lot. And just keep making videos. I like doing streams just as like a hangout thing. Sometimes I can plan them well, sometimes I can't. But you know, I'm a little like socially disadvantaged, so it feels good to do streams because I don't got fucking anybody to talk to about this crazy shit. You know what I mean? I'm seeing so many patterns. You know, with the moon is really interesting. There's a lot around the moon. People seem really interested in the moon, which makes a lot of sense actually, because the first video talisman that I did was the moon talisman. Was the moon the video about the moon talisman that I put out on YouTube that actually got like 600 views, despite the fact that it was like nothing I posted back then ever got 600 views because they were shadow banning me so bad. I'm less shadow banned now. Anyway. But yeah, you know, I got like 600 views on that video. People seem to think it was interesting. Where did you get the Hobbit poster? This is a Peter Prokownik print. He is a really good artist. He's like my favorite, one of my favorite guys. Maybe I'm a lunatic. Yeah, so people are definitely interested in the moon stuff. Yeah, just a video showing my moon talisman got like 600 views. It was very odd. And but that was kind of like, you know, I did it for a reason. And then you know, to see what would happen, and it seemed to work. So interesting. The moon represents common people, and it can represent social connections in a sense. Yeah, people have a lot of opinions about angels, and I'm too paranoid about spirits. That's why I stopped doing rituals. The spirit's good. Keep streaming and making videos on all this stuff. It's always interesting. Thank you so much, Miles. I really appreciate the support. I'm trying to be on Twitter more. I think Twitter is like weirdly one of the better platforms. If you just want to like, I'm sick of Instagram anymore. Instagram has just gotten like really repetitive, it seems like, and like, I don't know. Twitter, you can only post, it's not like the Wild West on Twitter. You can't post whatever you want, and you will get flagged for saying, you know, the naughty words. You will absolutely get flagged for the naughty words, which just tells you that everybody who's posting the naughty words and not getting flagged might be something going on there, right? Imagine that. Yeah, so Jupiter talismans are going to be a big thing for the next year, right? You can make a Jupiter talisman all year long. Jupiter rules people wearing white, Christianity, abundance, good things. Jupiter is very frequently connected to Christianity. It's like the idea that there is like a each religion, each Abrahamic religion has a conjunction that corresponds to it, or some astrological event that corresponds to its creation. So there was a great conjunction with the planet Saturn that created Judaism. Some kind of event with some kind of conjunction, I believe, with the planet Jupiter that created Christianity, and then there was a conjunction around Venus that created Islam. So interestingly, like that idea of like Christianity tying to Jupiter, yeah, you do kind of see that a lot. And I remember last year I noticed that there was a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Actually, people were talking about it. It was about a year and a half ago. And I noticed that like directly after that, I started seeing so many people with cross necklaces. And like, I noticed it was a definite increase because if somebody's like wearing something around their neck, I always look at it. Like I'm always going to look at it. And I like noticed that like all these people after that conjunction had these cross necklaces. And it just like, it was like a definite increase. and Jupiter being the planet of Christianity, and then you have Uranus, which is connected to, so Uranus is Kailus, okay? It's not just your hole, right? It's the god of the sky, basically, like, so it's connected to air and magic and fairies, actually, and I think fairies, it's hard for me to tell right now because Uranus is conjunct the Pleiades, and the Pleiades are definitely connected to fairies, but I think there is a connection. Yeah, I think it is Uranus. I remember learning that one of them had, like basically channeling some things about it, about their connection to fairies. The magician. Some people describe Uranus as the magician, whereas Neptune is the mystic. And there's just slightly different valence on those two words, right? Like you have like the magician is somebody who controls, who can control the flow of the cosmos, basically, to suit their will. That's what the magician does. So that's what Uranus does. And then, and it ties into free will in a big way. And then you have Neptune, the mystic, being like the waters, right? The more like emotional. I don't know how you would describe Christian mysticism. Christian mysticism is very interesting to me. You can't possibly look down my shirt. Like, this is like a crew neck. That's impossible. When did you first start believing in the supernatural? You can watch Schizo Territory. That's about how I started believing in the supernatural. There's a playlist on my channel called Schizo Territory. It's the series that I'm doing where I'm explaining exactly that. Like, and I think it's episode 1.5 is like one of the first weird things that happened to me that I could tell was like a spirit realm thing. Episode 1 is about something that happened more recently, that is also like a spirit realm thing, or like a celestial realm. Yeah, it's interesting. But that series is going to be all about that. Used to be an MDE fan, not anymore. Oh, I was going to talk about Gangstalking this stream. I don't know if Ben ever got back to me. Yeah, I was going to be talking to somebody on stream. I don't know if he ever... I hope I didn't flake on Ben. I'm pretty sure he did not get back to me. But yeah, some people have questions about Gangstalking. We can talk about that at some point. People find it kind of interesting. Wait, did this bitch... Ew, I'm not reading that. When you ask questions that would have... She points you to her videos. Yeah, just watch my old videos. It answers a lot of questions. Exactly. Like, if you watch my old videos, you'll learn who I am. Like, that's what they're for, right? Making videos is a very interesting medium, and I've always been drawn to it, even when I was a kid. And it's weird because, like, I like writing a lot, but there's something about videos that I just can't quit you. All my gangstalkers look just like me. Hashtag facts. That's obscene, Hans Grubermeister. Is it true you can apply for gangstalking jobs on Indeed? Yeah. You can... If you look up role-playing jobs, those are gangstalking jobs. Role-playing jobs. Some of them involve gangstalking. Gangstalking is a very liminal thing. It exists on the edges, on the fringes of, how would I say this? Of legality, and yeah, it's kind of right on the fringe there, where basically you have a group of people who are harassing you, and normally, I don't know, in my experience, I put up with them because they had something that I was interested in. So it was semi-consensual. That's the thing. So they play with the borderline, though, where they're very weird and very rude and just awful people. But, like, I mean, they're funny as hell. Don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of gangstalkers are fucking funny. A lot of gangstalkers... some of the only boys to be in a Discord chat with, right? Because they're just so off the wall and crazy. It is kind of fascinating, but you know, Discord it's for sowing Discord, so stay off it. I had an insane and terrifying dream. The real gang stalkers are the friends we made along the way. Exactly. I could never gang stalk somebody though, because I'm not a piece of shit. You see how that works? Where it's like, yeah, it's like it's not illegal. You're saying some creepy shit. You're being real weird. You're being real rude. You're psychologically torturing somebody. You're holding something over somebody's head. You're constantly gaslighting them. You're teaming up with other people to gaslight one person. And sometimes you're doing it very publicly, right? Let me see. Schizo. So many comments that say schizo. Like, that's where I got the name. Schizo territory. Because it was just like with the spirit realm, when you get gang stalked, it's very liminal. It's something where they gaslight you so much that you're not even sure of your reality. You kind of know what's going on. You do know what's going on, but you're like, this is just, it's too weird. It's like, it's something that most people just don't anticipate putting up with, is the thing. Where it's like, you would never think that someone would stage such an elaborate performance solely for the purpose of getting you to think something about them. And it has nothing to do with anything else. It's all about creating an image in the person being gang stalked head. Hans Grubermeister is cracking me up. Me and my gang stalkers are going to team up on Uranus. That's fucking funny. Okay. Remember, eBay hired real gang stalkers to harass some other company. I think it was Craigslist. Whoa. That is funny. Okay. Thank you, Henry Flickinger, for that. That's wonderful. Tang stalking. But I just really love high fructose orange drink mix. Tang stalking. Okay. People getting real silly tonight. Crying a lot, 49 coded. What if I'm getting gang stalked by spooky ghosts? Yeah, that'll happen. So yeah, there's people who talk about gang stalking. Tetsuya talks about gang stalking. And he's a YouTuber who likes to talk about gang stalking in a way that suggests that the person being gang stalked is like he kind of allows that person to be a victim, but to a degree that's not helpful. Even though I don't know, that it's possible that some people get more severely gang stalked by me, but like the way he says it, these people want you to kill yourself. Like they want you to go so crazy that you murder yourself. That's the goal of gang stalking. I don't think that was the goal. No. Well, yeah, there was a little bit of that in there. A lot of them do want you to kill yourself because they want to feel powerful. And because they're sickos. It's the same shit every time. So the gang stalkers are just these sickos, and they want to feel powerful by hurting you. And if they can create a perception that you're crazy, that's what really gets them off. They want people to think that you're crazy. Man, my throat is dry. Why would you get gang stalked? Because of something about the videos I was posting, and it might have had something to do with a fellow named Sam Hyde. They all seem to be Sam Hyde fans. I mean, you can't sue me for saying that, right? I don't think you could sue me for saying anything, because honestly, yeah, Sam Hyde seems to be a gang stalker in like a big way. Like, I don't know what it is. I think I think what happens, and I'm totally like being honest, I don't even like care about, like, I don't really care about Sam even enough to hurt him. Like, yeah, they want to make people lose their shit publicly. Are you trying to break out of the Saturn Matrix? SpiceBear, Sam Hyde. I don't know if my battery's getting a little bit low. How many motherfucking water bottles you got? So many, dude. So many. It's not okay, dude. It's not okay. I'm trying to see how much time I got left on this. Okay, I got about 30 minutes left on my battery. Based has been Redditorized. Don't tell me that. Don't break my heart. Don't tell me that. Reddit is hell. Reddit is a pit in the ground. I really despise Reddit. Every fucking time. You know, you go on Reddit with good intentions. You're like, I'm just gonna, nothing, this is innocuous. No one will get upset. No one will be a dick to me. I'm just gonna put like, I'm just trying to get some information in a place that is very public and very easy to access, because that's what Reddit is. It's easy, which means it's probably lying, but you go on there with the best of intentions. You're like, just one time. People suck on Reddit, okay? People on Reddit are the most, like, just bottom tier of the internet. Like, you can't get anything. You can't communicate with those fucking people. And I don't know how the people on Reddit who aren't like that, like the insufferable gamma male types, the people who aren't that, why don't they just leave? Like, why do they put up with that? I feel like people, like normal people on Reddit, they're almost like Stockholm Syndrome, like victims. Like, just leave, man. Just, like, get out of that relationship. Go somewhere else. There's other forums. Not everybody fucking acts like that. Like, dude, it is brutal. What a horrible place. It's like the SpongeBob generation. That's who's on Reddit. It's the fucking SpongeBob generation. Dude, I like the purple Nalgene. Okay, I was wondering if somebody would see it. Those were always the coolest IMO. I didn't know they were a thing. I'm not from, like, that culture. But, like, it's a very useful bottle and it's very pretty. Unfunny jokes flooding every popular post are maddening. Yeah, dude, it's one of the innermost circles of hell, I think. It might even be like the middle, like the middle, like 4 or 5, I think, are all on Reddit. You got to think about how many fucking disgusting people are on the internet. It gets draining, like, dealing with people, because, man, the people who do not want to go out. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Any kind of public information source, just, like, don't even, like, you can't trust NPR. It's too public. There's always ways. You can't trust Reddit. Reddit is like the NPR of forums. That's the thing. And that's what makes it so accessible, right? It's public broadcasting. Everybody has access to it. It's like, okay, well, on one hand, you're a public utility, and on the other hand, you have so much money that you're free for everyone. Everybody's got to have access to Sesame Street. Everybody's got to have access to, you know. Sam Hyde's Gangstalking me video would go hard, just saying. That's, yeah, I mean, Sam Hyde is Gangstalking me video. Hey, that's a $1 million title right there. It really is. You're tempting me. I like attention. What can I say? I mean, we'll put that on the maybe docket. I have a lot of Sam Hyde jokes, like a lot. So I would love to throw them in there. You can't trust anything anymore. Reddit actually loses money despite being a top visited site. Yeah, I'm sure they do. They're very well moderated. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. All right, the chat's being a little nuts tonight. I don't think I can handle all this Sam Hyde talk. Like, you guys gotta get another daddy. You can get a new daddy. Get a new daddy. Stay up real late. Kick back and light up a fatty. Yeah. Mormon founder had a Jupiter talisman. Did you know that? The founder of Mormonism, Joseph Smith, I think it was, is Joseph Smith. Yeah, he had like a Jupiter talisman allegedly. That's really interesting. Again, Jupiter is the planet ruling Christianity. So you had this Mormon dude, Joseph Smith. He's got his little Jupiter talisman. He's connecting with the spirits of Christianity. He's connecting with the spirits of abundance and luck, right? Jupiter is lucky. I remember there was this one, like, he was like a white-haired, suave astrologer, and he would give like weekly forecasts on YouTube. And he was actually like kind of interesting because he was just one of the better ones. But he had, I don't really do horoscopes, but he would always refer to Jupiter as like the expansive, lucky Jupiter. I'm like, yeah, that's what Jupiter is. Expansive and lucky. Think like a waxing moon type thing. Leon Trotsky. I'd rather talk about Trevor Moore than Sam Hyde. Yeah, I gotta do my Trevor Moore. If I just gather like a few topics for the next stream, that kind of helps me like figure out like new places. Sharon Osbourne's a Jewish witch. Yeah, no shit. Ozzy's really creepy to me in retrospect. Assuming he's really dead, you never know. And it's just like the thing with Ozzy, you guys know I don't trust people in round glasses. No. I don't trust people around glasses. And even, isn't that like what the guy in, oh my god, that's what the guy in Pan's Labyrinth did. What was that guy's name? Like the Pale Man or whatever, that freaky fucking guy that she meets when she goes into the labyrinth. And he has to do this. And he has like the stigmata. It represents that he's like literally like a Catholic priest. That's like exactly, he's making like the round glasses face. Like the Ben Franklin glasses. There's something fucking creepy about those. And like Harry Potter has round glasses. I don't know how I feel about that. That makes me sad. That makes me want to understand some shit. But yeah, Ozzy like he did bite the head off a lot of like birds and flying mammals or whatever. Like he flying marsupials. Yeah, he like bit a lot of heads off. He's a weird fucking guy. He's a really weird guy. Yeah, it really makes you think. And then somebody sent me the lyrics to Mr. Tinker Train, that Ozzy Osbourne song, and that's pretty fucked up. Yeah, it doesn't sound good for Ozzy, where it's like he's luring a little girl. I don't know about that. Yeah, I never really knew anyone who was too into them. I always like kind of liked the aesthetic. It's very Saturnian. We'll talk about that at a point in the future. Ozzy comes off as an MK Ultra puppet that was being controlled by his handler Sharon. Yeah, I could see that. I never watched the show. But here's the thing: do you feel bad for Ozzy that he was being manipulated by some Jewish witch? It's like, well, you probably shouldn't have been a scumbag. They can only control you by the chains that you put on yourself, right? The chains of vice that make people slaves. That's Saturn again. Didn't want to Ozzy's guitarist pray to a demon for his guitar skills. I don't know about that. That would make sense. Yeah, these guys are literally doing like magic spells. It's crazy. It's crazy. Alice in Chains too. Alice in Chains had some spooky. That one song of theirs, Feed My Eyes. What is it? Man in the Box. Yes, speaking of Saturn. Man in the Box. That's like it's basically like a curse. If you look at the lyrics of Man in the Box, dude, it's like a curse against Christ or against Christianity. It really is. And watch the video. It has all that kind of imagery in it. Not a Lane Staley fan. Somebody was quoting some Lane Staley, some Alice in Chains on my on my YouTube, one of my videos earlier, and I'm like, I can't get behind that band. Like, I just feel like they're so evil. Their songs were decent. They had some cool riffs. I get it. I like Alice in Chains in a way, but like they were like just like they were designed to promote despair like magically. Like they were doing curses. And yeah, that word "feed my eyes." So in that song, they're saying "feed my eyes," deny your maker. It's very like satanic. And in the video, there's like a black cloak. It's very death oriented, Saturn oriented, but like in a bad way. And that word "feed," it's a really interesting word. The word "feed" ties into magic a lot. There's like a hoodoo practice of feeding to create like so you could like they have like these magnetic stones and you can feed them magnetic sand. You also have that idea of like feed your head, like what the Dormouse said. You know, that's from Alice in Wonderland. It's from the Jefferson Airplane song. White Rabbit, right? White Rabbit, and there's a rabbit in the moon. So, but yeah, that word "feed," there's a magical nature to that, and you also see the word "feed" on your Facebook feed, your Twitter feed, your Instagram feed. They are feeding you. It's a magical process. So they're very clever with that. You know, there's certain words that you pick up on and you realize like they are using this word in a magical sense. I have right next to the screen, I have my activity feed. Like it's a word that ties to a magical act of causing something to grow in a way that's magical, right? The waxing moon, growing the future in the celestial realm. J.K. Rowling's A Temple of Set cultist. She did a lot of those books have a lot of good in them though. They have a lot of good in them. There is some shit in there that makes me go, what? Like sometimes I think Lupin's a pedophile. That whole like the werewolf thing, like I kind of feel like that might be a pedo reference. Also in the movie Big Fish, remember in Danny DeVito in Big Fish, he was like this ringmaster at a circus, and he would like turn into a werewolf at night, and that seemed to be a metaphor for like a pedophile. I just picked that up a lot where like werewolf sometimes means pedophile. So I do wonder that, you know, some of them. Lupin the Third. That's interesting. Yeah. That was an anime, right? That was on like Toonami, I think. All right, my dog's losing his. I got 23 minutes left on this thing. We are at 9:54. We've been going for like a solid 2 hours. Yeah, man. Okay, this is pretty good. The werewolf in Twilight was a pedophile. Yeah, that's a good point. I have heard people say that before. Twilight's abysmal. That was another just abysmal series that got pushed. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog panicking. Big Fish is such a strange film. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting movie. Dog going crazy. Oh, poor puppy. No, trust me. I know he's playing. He is such a crybaby for stupid reasons. But I am gonna check on him. I'll be right back. Give me like 3 minutes. I'm gonna put the fan on. No, I won't do that to y'all. Alright. What is wrong with the dog? All right. No, not the fan. Yeah, I know. I was like, no, it's gonna drive people crazy. The fact that Twilight was popular is a damning indictment on humanity. It really is. It was a terrible series. Stephen King roasted it. I remember that being a little amusing. But at the same time, it's like a humiliation ritual thing where they're like, Spice Chair. The river that flooded in Texas, the missing girls. Yeah, what about it? Bob John, Sirius the Dog Star. Bob John says, werewolf symbolism, thank you, I just decided something. Oh, that Sirius might connect to werewolves, maybe. Well, I mean, yeah, so in the Harry Potter series, Sirius and Lupin are like really good friends. That's, yeah, those books tend to like have a lot embedded in them. When the werewolf in oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my god, I forgot about that. When the werewolf in Twilight scented on the child or whatever, yeah. Thank you, Tegan T. The werewolf like imprints himself on a baby. Like when Bella has a baby, the werewolf imprints himself on her baby, and her baby's like half vampire. And yeah, it does seem like the Twilight books were kind of using vampirism as like a metaphor for narcissism, where it's like you're this unfeeling human, but they weren't deep books, so they didn't really go into that. I don't know. I gave up on those. There's no way I'm gonna get through that. You a fan of the Dark Tower series by King? He should never write dialogue for black women. His in the Drawing of the Three, that I believe is the second book. I had trouble getting through that. Like he's like the black woman is like chimping out the entire time. Like the dialogue is like so bad. The first one I found really interesting. So the first one is called The Gunslinger in the Dark Tower series, and there's like the gunslinger meets the boy, and they go on this adventure, and I can't remember exactly what happens, but I remember that they were, yeah, it's kind of like a metaphor for the gunslinger's life, I think, and that is said to be Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series. But there's a lot of like really stupid shit in them. Vampires versus werewolves goes back to World War II. Wow, thank you, Aphid Bowler. Yeah. That's really interesting. So what makes you say that? Because in Monsters of the Id, which I've talked about before, it's Michael Jones, Michael Jones' book on horror as being the horror genre. He lays out a really good case that the horror genre itself is a reflection of man's sexual depravity. So the sexual liberation, quote unquote, which is really a form of bondage. It's a form of, being literal here, it's a form of slavery, where you have this vice of sexuality that you can control people with. And basically, EMJ lays out this argument that the horror genre is that reflection of the human subconscious trying to process the guilt of being sexually too liberal, basically. And it's very compelling. And he starts with Frankenstein, and he says that Frankenstein is that expression of the subconscious. And then he also talks about like Dracula and World War II, where he ties like the blood purity obsession around Dracula with with Dracula, the kind that you found in like World War II, where you had like the very odd Aryan blood obsession thing. I'm kind of like, there's some really interesting stuff on that, and I don't know, who do you think wrote the Aryan blood obsession stuff? Who do you think wrote that stuff? you might want to take a couple guesses there. I took Twilight. It's just giving women a fantasy. It's a terrible fantasy. And it inflates her desires and it breaks her heart when real life doesn't match up. I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, to me, it was just, I don't know. Not to be gay wad, but I honestly think a true sexual revolution has never been tried. Perhaps if we follow women's lead, then we wouldn't see such a predatory and pedophilic society we see today. I think that monogamy is just the best path for everybody. I mean, you don't really want a sexual revolution. Why reinvent the wheel? Like, oh yeah, Camilla, the vampire stuff. Yeah, I've looked into some of the older vampire stuff. It always had a connotation of being like about like linked to sexuality or linked to you know, the horror genre is like that. And then Camilla was about like lesbian vampires. It was one of the first vampire stories. My dog's okay. I'm massaging him and he's really happy about it. These are little puppy happy sounds. All right. Yeah, it is about time to get off here. I just want a life partner to share the burdens of life with. Seems like a big ask in modern society these days. Mary Shelley's mother. Yeah. So Mary Shelley's mother, Mary Stone Wollstonecraft, I believe was her, Wollstonecraft. She wrote some feminist papers, some feminist stuff back early on. So that's another thing, is that the feminist revolution was about this sexual liberation. That was the end goal of women's liberation, and it came out of the Marquis de Sade types. It came out of the Giordano Bruno types. They were teaching love is magic, magic is love, and that you could control the human heart by controlling love and magic, by controlling love, basically. It's like that's the system of control that we live under today, is that you know, it's sadistic. It's literally of the Marquis de Sade. And Giordano Bruno is a lot like that, where they're just like creeps. Like, if you read their work, they're creeps. They wanted to control everything. They had like a lot of weird sexual pedophilic inclinations, it seemed. She was a suffragette. Thank you, SpiceBear. Appreciate the combo. They distort love into lust. I'm a really good dog masseuse. Like, I'm really good at it. All right, I gotta stop. I'm not a feminist at all. I don't consider myself a feminist. I don't like feminism. I think it's done too much bad stuff. That the word feminism has been ruined for me. And it might have once meant not allowing your husband to like beat you senseless with a rod. And I would be, you know, I get it. I get that. But like, it inevitably teaches that men and women are equal, and it's just, it's a struggle. I don't know. Maybe I'll stay on a little bit longer. How many people do we have here? Because I'm okay, yeah, we're doing pretty good, man. Bruno is like the OG Crowley, right? Yes, he kind of is. Because Crowley, I think, also talked about like the power of love. And when you hear these magicians talk about love, okay, they're talking about like the love is love, like LGBTQ plus pedo shit. That's what they're talking about. Yeah, it's fucked up, and it stems from there. They realized that they could control men by their vices. And that's also the French Revolution happened around this time period too, and that was like, it was like a blood sacrifice. They need their blood sacrifices, I guess, man. Stay as long as you want. Oh, that's sweet. I think I will stay here in my own fucking room, bro. Thumbs up the fucking stream. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up button. Again, if you want to support me, buymeacoffee.com/SpiceBear. How much battery life do I have? 11 minutes. Okay. I don't want to put the fan on. Dude, he's so loud. Your puppy is very vocal. He's a Shih Tzu. He's a piece of Shih Tzu, and he's very sweet. He's just like, he is very vocal. He's always been like that. Hold on. All right, yeah, I'm pushing it this stream. I'm definitely pushing it. It's up. My battery's gonna die though soon, so I do have to get off. I dye my armpit hair green. It makes me special. Fourth wave feminism forever. BB. Okay. Crowley signs his letters 666. Love above all. Interesting. Some people say 6 is the number of Saturn because of the cube. Some people say 6 is the number of the sun. Yeah, I don't know. Evil want you to betray what you love. Is Aleister Crowley the heir to Crowler Dairy Company? I'm not sure actually. I forget what his parents did. I don't think it was dairy. I think it was something else. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein the year that Europe had no summer due to a far-off volcanic eruption. Yes, yeah, that's really interesting. Larry Rapshaw, thank you. Yeah, there was no summer because of all the ash in the sky. It really makes you think, right? No summer in I guess that would be England. She went to France, or I think it was Mary Wollstonecraft went to France and was just traumatized by what she saw there during the French Revolution, and like all of it was bad. It was a really bad time. Just plug your device into charge. I can't because it'll turn the fan on. There might be a way to do it without triggering the fan to come on, but it doesn't seem to. I think that's just the way this laptop is. Leo Virgo cusp. Okay, nice. I thought Crowley's last words were, Satan, I'm perplexed. His parents owned a brewery. That's right. Crowley's parents owned a brewery. Yeah. All right. I'm going to call it here. Thank you guys for coming out. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm dying fast. So thank you guys for coming out. Leave me a comment if you want to support the stream. Buymeacoffee.com/SpiceBear. There's a GoFundMe link if you'd rather donate there. I appreciate the support, and leave a comment. Hit the like button. Thank you guys for hanging out. Have a good rest of your weekend.